So we have 2 minutes, literally. If I was to play the skeptic and say to you, Kyle, how could a little patch with no drug in it make a difference? Are you sure that this is the patch and not just your mind imagining this? What would you say to me? The interview that you're about to see is between a friend of mine, Kyle, who lives in America, but at the time was in London. And I was speaking to him about my experience on LifeWave's X39 patch. And he mentioned to me a couple of things. And I suggested to him, just try the patch and see what happens. And this is his experience. You had pain in your foot and or ankle, and also asthma. And I
Yeah.
told you how I seemingly had a positive result from these patches, and maybe they could help you too. And so you messaged me maybe after a week of using the X39 regarding your ankle or foot.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit about that?
So I had this ankle that I rolled last summer, and I thought it was going to be an 8-week period of rehab. But after the first 3 days, having rolled the ankle, I couldn't even, I had to crawl. And even crawling was difficult because, of course, your foot's dragging on the floor. And it took 10 weeks for the swelling to go down noticeably. And the swelling stuck around for a good 6 months. You could see the difference. And I still had noticeable pain. It's not just pain, but it's functionality. I do a lot of single leg exercises at the gym. I'm cutting left and right on a single leg. I'm jumping, 30 centimeters on a single leg and then landing on a single leg. And the landing and the jumping have always been the most problematic, but noticeably the landing in ankle stability and knee stability.
Well, so first of all, to backtrack, you said that you had maybe loss of stability and functionality of your,
Right leg.
and that was since the injury, since you rolled the ankle.
That's right. That's because of the injury. Yeah.
And when you rolled the ankle, did you hear or feel any popping or any tearing of like tissue or ligament?
I rolled it twice actually. And both times I heard the first time it was very loud. I came down on it the wrong way and I landed on the wrong rock and it rolled pretty hard to the right. And I heard a pretty big snap sound.
Like carrots popping, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's a classic. But you had definitely injured it. It kind of
Oh yeah.
it
I mean,
swelled up.
it was twice the size
Mm,
of my left leg
mm,
for a good month.
mm.
And then
And change of color, like any blue or
yeah, I mean, I couldn't wear my shoes. I couldn't wear my right shoe
mm,
uh with comfort
mm.
until probably I'd say Christmas.
And so you had daily pain that had kind of plateaued, or it was worsening, or slowly getting
Well,
better, or
so it was always really, really sharp walking up the steps, coming down. If I were sitting Indian style or sitting with the flats of my feet towards the ground, and leaning back, tremendous amount of pain. Just walking and doing any walking on ground that's not completely flat.
and the pain was right in the area where it was definitely a result of that injury.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
okay. Just
yeah.
to remove all doubt. And and out of 10, like where was the pain at after? Did you say you had carried this for like a year?
Yeah, I think I probably rolled it in September. I think it was September late.
Okay.
And I just started wearing the patches May 20th-ish.
So the pain immediately after you rolled it was like a what out of 10?
I would say an 8 out of 10.
Wow. So it was
I
acute.
couldn't, yeah. I mean, I could walk a couple of blocks. If I parked farther than that, it was hard to get to my car.
Wow. And then, so fast forward to just before you started using the patch, where was the pain then? An
I
average?
would say probably a 4 or 5. The pain was always such that it was like, is this injury going to follow me? I couldn't do the same exercises on my right leg in the same way that I was doing on my left leg.
The functionality was compromised as well. The jumping one leg.
But yeah, the functionality was worse than the pain. I mean, it was like I couldn't train and I've been training balance for a couple of years now, where I would do these pedestal stands where I'm working my hip flexor on the leg that's up like a, like a stork, and passing the kettlebell through my leg and around my back. And my left leg I'm always able to do that for a good minute. But on the right leg, it's always been an issue. And then jumping side to side and jumping up and landing on the going up the steps is always noticeable.
Since the injury?
Since the injury prior to the patch.
Yeah, but before you rolled your ankle, you could do that without issue.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had no prior injuries on either ankle. So
are you using the X39 on the back of the neck or navel?
On the back, on seat number 7. By the way you showed me to do it it's really fantastic. It's so easy to put on that way, taking one of the papers off. But yeah, that's where I have worn it exclusively on that area.
So just to recap, in the month after the injury, both your gym functionality, like unilateral or one-legged stuff, was affected, and you had pain of maybe 8 out of 10 the month after the injury. 7 months after the injury, it was a still noticeable constant 4, but spiking up to 6 out of 10 in certain positions. And then you started using the X39 on the back of the neck, and the pain. Did anything happen to the pain?
After using the patch for a day, I didn't notice any pain. And after about 4 or 5 days, I had an awareness that there had been an injury there. It wasn't pain necessarily, but there was evidence that I had an injury, but no pain. And I've been to the gym now several times doing leg work for the last 10 days while I've been wearing the patch. And I've been doing a lot of those same single leg exercises on the right and left leg. My left leg is very agile, very strong. I have no issues with my left leg. My right leg's not just the pain. Because of the pain, I've had balance issues too. But now, just yesterday, I had leg exercises, absolutely no balance issues at all. I can jump up to the box without feeling that discomfort, having to sort of brace, land differently. And then jumping down from the box is always the hardest. And that is very stable. I don't feel like I have to compensate in other areas of my body. There were 2 moments I had walking where I remembered where the pain was. It wasn't a discomfort in like I should get this addressed kind of way. It was like I noticed my ankle kind of way. I know that my ankle is there, and I remember that I had an injury there, and it was but it wasn't like a sharp pain or anything. It wasn't distracting. And then it went away.
So you would grade that, what, like a 1 out of 10, like just a reminder?
Yeah, I would say a 1 would be a reminder. I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
So the first day you found that the pain dropped from a 4 to a 6 out of 10 to literally a 0, but then
I didn't feel anything. Yeah, and that was with movement. That was with I'm constantly moving around, and there was no pain.
And then in a few days after, you felt just for some reason intuitively, oh, I used to have a injury here. I know I have an injury. I used to feel something here, and you're just cognizant of that area, but not necessarily any sharp pain.
It was kind of like if somebody touches you on your foot, you feel the touch, but it was kind of like stepping on a pebble the wrong way,
right?
Where there's not really pain, but your body's telling you there's something here.
What I found with my ankle was I would step on it and almost anticipate that I was going to wince, but then I didn't wince. And then I was confused as to whether I actually had felt something painful or whether my brain was just so conditioned for the last year, well, actually 14 months. It's like I forgot that the pain had gone away, and I thought momentarily, this is going to hurt. And then it didn't. And I thought, did that hurt or not? I'm not sure what happened there. Like a bad placebo.
Yeah. It's the dark side placebo.
So the day you started using the patch, there was definitely, you're sure, a noticeable difference in pain.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah.
now 2 weeks on the X39, are you still feeling more or less pain-free in the ankle?
Yeah, in the last several days, I haven't felt anything. I feel excited about it. I haven't had the discomfort in training, which is very important to me from a mental health perspective, keeping a routine. So I don't feel discouraged at all that that's going to be an issue for me anymore. I feel confident that the patch is doing something that's helping my body to achieve a level of preparedness. So I can go in, take care of, set my goals without having to set them to accommodate the ankle pain. So I'm not accommodating that at all in terms of changing my routine at the gym. I'm doing the same routine at the gym for my left leg as I'm doing for my right leg. The only difference in the gym between right and left leg at this point is that I have not been training my right leg optimally for the last 8 months because of the injury. So wherever I am with my right leg is a result of not being able to exercise it and move it in the same way that I want to. But what's remarkable is I don't even feel off balance. It's like even though I was accommodating that for the last 8 months and feeling uncomfortable and actually behaving uncomfortably on the leg, it's almost like my body knows exactly what it's supposed to do. And now that I'm on the patch, I'm able to perform without having to relearn that.
Wow. So before the patch, when you were dropping off the box onto your the ankle you rolled, you would have for sure felt some sharp pain, and now that's gone.
Well, you feel sharp pain, but what you're also doing is you're engaging your knee, you're engaging your hips, your back, your shoulders, you're moving everything differently because you're expecting the pain and you're trying to basically soothe, nurture, and protect yourself. But now using the patch, it's like my body is able to just let go. It knows what to do, and I trust it. And that is
Wow.
confidence in addition to the physical benefits that I have experienced with the patch.
So we have 2 minutes, literally. If I was to play the skeptic and say to you, Kyle, how could a little patch with no drug in it make a difference? Are you sure that this is the patch and not just your mind imagining this benefit? What would you say to me?
Well, I would say one, if you believe in Jesus and you believe in the light, then I would say the light coming out of me is God's light.
Okay.
And so the light that's going back into me is also God's light. That's number one. I'm very confident that there's a significant but also profound change in how I'm functioning on my ankle, but also just generally my level of confidence walking, putting pressure and weight on that leg. I feel very confident with a nearly perfect reduction of pain.
So they say you're meant to be on the X39 for 3 months, plus a month for every decade you've been alive. So are you planning on staying on the patch for, say, a 6 month chunk, for example?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm getting ready to order the subscription. So barring any new information, I'm going to order the subscription. I'm going to be on it moving forward. The goal is to commit to 12 months. And after the first 3 months, I'm going to introduce a second patch and try to start addressing the lung issues in addition to some other curiosities that I have. But I would absolutely remain committed to the changes that I'm having as a result of putting the patch on. So I'm going to keep wearing the patch.
So you're sure it's working. We've got 30 seconds. And you said you purchased the Eon as well. Have you only been using the X39 or were you using the Eon as well?
I've only been using the X39 right now.
Amazing. Kyle, brother, thank you so much. We'll speak again.
Thanks, James.
Excited.
All right, sounds good.
Take care.
Cheers.